Hell yes, dear listener. The HSP boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 117. Thank you so much for saddling up with us. 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee fee. 2 separate fact shamings, 2 separate mansplainings, 2 separate trails to the same inevitable conclusion. 117, dear listener. 117 episodes from the hellions of the right. Psalm 117 is the exact middle of the Bible. Look it up. It's true. 117 is a pentagonal number. 117 factors into 39 and 3 quite conveniently, but none of this really matters right now. And why is that? Because the trail grows longer each and every single week. And 117 means that we have 117 miles to ride on this trail right here, right now. So let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 117, which is in the house presently. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med for now. Send us feedback at zero-gravity-media.com. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and TuneIn, all 5 under Zero Gravity Media. Dear listener, there is no footprint for the HSP boys on Podbean because Podbean is dead to the HSP boys. Find us right here on YouTube where you're tuned in right now. Search for Zero Gravity Media and our God tier Zero G logo. The HSP boys are now on Rumble. You can find us there by searching for Zero Gravity Media on Rumble. And dear listener, very excitingly, we are also on Locals. This is our preferred social media platform. Find us there at zerogravitymedia.locals.com. We're going to be joining with you and we will have fun and fellowship. Leave us some feedback using the contact form at our website, our most important platform in case we get punted from something, zero-gravity-media.com/contact. Each episode, Luke and I like to call out one city. And this city, the magic of this city is the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week. So without any further ado, the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week is... All right, dear listener, not unfamiliar to this trail at all, but new to the front of this trail, we've got, welcome, dear listener, Bothell, Washington. Bothell, I know your town very well. I've been there numerous times. Not far from our friends in Snohomish, Redmond, Seattle, Kirkland, right? Kind of right there, all in the middle of it. Yeah. But man, Bothell, you really blew it up this week. Thank you so very much. You have found the right one. You believe that, and we love you so much. Thank you. Thank you so very much. What a weird week, man. What a weird week. Politically. It's just weird, you know?
Why do you say that?
It was just all over the place. You know, I was thinking last night as I was prepping for the show, I'm like, you know, nothing really happened this week. And then I started looking through my show prep, and I'm like, oh, yeah, dang, that happened. Dang, that happened. Dang, that happened. Right. And there is not really an overarching theme, even though there kind of is. I've tried to crystallize it, to distill it into this theme. And so we'll get into that in the show. Dear listener, though, Luke and I are T-minus 2 hours until President Trump comes up and speaks at CPAC. So this is going to be an abbreviated show because we're gonna be watching that. You believe that? And school night for Luke, late already for Luke. So we would play it for you if we could, but we just don't have the time to do it. Hope you understand. But that I am certain is the audio we're going to be playing next week for audio break. What's your prediction on that?
Yeah, dude.
I'm certain. Yeah,
I agree entirely.
Yep. How you doing, man? What's new?
Good, man. Weather here is finally not miserable, so it's sunny and it's warm.
Good, man.
Yeah, allergy season is coming in. I swear, dude, there's just no winning in Germany because allergy season comes around and they don't have central AC and heating here. So there's no filtering or anything. And you have to open up the windows. It's called Frische Luft and let a bunch of fresh air come in, which basically it's not Frische Luft. It's allergy Luft.
Right.
So it's like, you know, you get out of one season and then it's into crazy allergy season and I'm allergic to like everything here. And then it's into summer and there's no AC here. So there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights. And then, yeah, dude, Americans have no idea how nice they have it. There's just no winning here. And Jessica and I, we both agree on that. And, anyways, but yeah, dude, by and large, everything's going really well. Had a super productive week. dear listener, I was telling Russ earlier that what up, Shayna?
Hey, Shayna, good to see you here. Thank you so much. It's really good to see you.
Yeah, we were talking. Yeah, Russ and I've been kind of tuned out of politics for the last month. I needed to just tune out. We've been at this for like 2.5 years, about to be 3 years.
Yeah.
And after the election, I don't know. I was so disgusted by the entire thing that I kind of I was like, I need a break from this for a couple weeks. So anyways, I was telling Russ before the show, I was like, honestly, I think I'm kind of, I'm locked and loaded again. So,
all right, man.
Anyways, my show prep will start being pretty good. Well, it'll be great again. I'll say that. And but also it definitely has like reinvigorated me in wanting to study philosophy and get to the get to some of the more history and philosophy and stuff like this. So I'm really excited. So anyways, yeah, I didn't even know CPAC was happening until like yesterday or the day before.
Really? Dang.
I had no idea.
Good on you, man.
I had no idea. I don't get on Twitter anymore. I don't get on Facebook. I deleted the Facebook and Twitter apps off my phone because I was spending too much time watching useless videos, and also just because they don't do anything for me, man. And after I deleted them off my phone, I realized just how useless both of those platforms are.
Right.
So anyways, so yeah. So other than that, yeah, I think Brandon Cropper and I are going to do a little live stream sometime this week.
Oh, good, man. Good.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Cropper in forever, man. I'll watch. Let me know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to do, so Dennis very recently in the last like week or two, Dennis Prager did a fireside chat with Craig Biddle. Craig Biddle's an objectivist who started the Objective Standard. I have no idea what Cropper thinks of Biddle. I would surmise to say, I guess he probably, likes him well enough. I generally like Biddle. I definitely liked his approach in this. So we're going to do a react video, probably a 2-part react series, just kind of go through and just react to this and talk, to discuss their philosophical points. And it's so hilarious, so much funny, just so much stuff went right over Prager's head. And, Biddle made this ironclad, logically deduced series of conclusions, and then about I think it was free will, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was the origin of rights. I can't quite remember. And then at the end, Prager was like, "Well, that's your faith, and I have my faith." It's like, dude, he literally just logically laid it all out for you. You can't just write that off as, well, that's your faith. Yeah. So anyways, should be really good. Keep an eye out, dear listener. But anyways, how about you, man? How was your week?
It was all right. A little bit tough. Didn't get the boil notification, the boil warning rather, taken off until Thursday morning, which is great. So water's great again. Busy week. And dear listener, just a little bit of housekeeping. Okay. I've been asked this week about why we're so irregular on our schedule. We're actually not, dear listener. It's not really that mysterious. Okay. Twice a month, we go on Saturday, and twice a month, we go on Sunday. Okay. This is so that Luke and I can kind of have a Saturday night every now and then, even though there's nowhere to go. Okay. So you'll get into that rhythm, right? Where we blast on Saturdays and then we blast on Sundays like we're doing today. So pro tip, now that we just blasted on Sunday, Luke and I will blast Saturday next week. We're going to come every weekend. We're going to come at you every single weekend. Right.
Is that how that works? Every other week?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. You asking me?
Yeah. We probably should have made that more. Probably should have announced that. Basically, we went I don't know. We went a year and a half. We only missed a couple shows. I went like a year and a half and never had a Saturday night because we were recording at like 8 p.m. my time.
Right.
So I'd eat dinner, and then Saturday night was the show. I went after like a year and a half, I was like, dude, I need like a Saturday every now and again so we can go eat, go out, do something. It's like, I've got to charge the batteries at the same time. So after like a year and a half, I was like, dude, we need to get on some sort of schedule where it's like, you wake up a little bit earlier on Sunday, we record before I eat dinner here, and then on Saturday, We do every other week. So it's like every other week I have a Saturday night. And that's the origins of that, if you're curious.
Yes. And
Because we're in this for the long haul, and you have to treat yourself right if you're going to do this for the long haul,
Right. Yeah. That's exactly right. So that's what it is, dear listener. It's not that we're irregular. We're actually quite regular about it. It's just we had to make an adjustment, And
You know why I like you, Russ? You're a regular guy.
It's true. I am just a regular dude. I could say something really vile right now, but I won't. So
I know. Well, as soon as you said that, why are you so irregular? I was like, how do they know? That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, dear listener, we got a lot to put down this week. I've got about 25 topics. That's topics. That's not articles and evidence in my show prep. That's just topics. Okay. A lot happened this week. It really did. It feels like it was a slow week, but it wasn't. It wasn't. A lot of stuff went down. The Equality Act was passed this week. Well, it looks like it's going to pass. The stimulus is going to probably pass the Senate. It passed the House, probably going to pass the Senate, and that is an absolute abortion of a bill. A lot of stuff happened with Biden this week. A lot of stuff happened with immigration this week. We're starting to learn a lot of things about the Capitol demonstration, dear listener, that we didn't know before. And the narrative that we have been fed is an entire lie. Imagine that. But we're starting to learn a lot about this. A lot happened in Texas regarding the power situation. A lot is going on with Governor Cuomo of New York right now. And that, I'm sorry to say, is pretty funny stuff. If you ask me, it's also really terrible, right? 15,000 people died at his hands in nursing homes in New York. He's going to be under investigation by the New York AG, and he's getting Me Too'd also in real time. A lot of stuff happened with China. A lot of stuff happened with the border. A lot of stuff happened with Obamagate this week. Dear listener, we learned even more about Obamagate this week.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah, that was remarkable.
I also can't wait to hear about how it's not going to materialize into anything. Oh, and by the way,
it's not. No,
by the way, dear listener, before we go on, I don't know if anybody noticed the background, but Russ and I were asked to be keynote speakers of CPAC.
Right.
Due to flight restrictions, I wasn't able to make it, so we're conferencing in. So
that's right. We're live on the floor at CPAC right now, dear listener. Yeah.
You can see the background.
The president. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I mean, by keynote, I really mean like we were asked to do like the pre-presidential speech.
That's right, man.
That's what this is.
That's right. So yeah. So that's what we're doing right now. Luke's on one screen, dear listener. I'm on the other screen, and we're doing the HSP business this week. so yeah. Yep. Well, Luke, I can see there are a lot of people in the auditorium, so we need to, number one, entertain these people. Number two, inform these people. So where you want to ride, man? What are we going to tackle first?
You made mention of well, I mean, God, dude, there's so much. What's up with the Obamagate? Let's start there, because that's probably
Okay. I first of all, dear listener, there is we considered this for audio break. There was an interview with Kash Patel that came up on Real Clear Investigations this week. It is a must watch. Basically, what he says is that, defiant of his understanding, Trump folded on releasing all of the Russiagate, Spygate documents, the full disclosure that we were waiting on. He folded in the last 2 days that he was in the White House. And Kash Patel is saying he doesn't know why. And Kash Patel is a gangster, dear listener, straight up gangster, right?
Who was, for dear listeners' sake, who was Kash Patel? Explain.
He worked in the White House for quite some time. He's an attorney, very smart guy, probably CIA. I'm going to bet probably, but that's speculation. That's purely speculation. And he was moved over to the State Department to be basically, in the closing days of the Trump administration, the Assistant Secretary of State, Deputy Secretary of State. That's essentially the role he filled. But when Rick Grinnell was acting ODNI, his number two was Kash Patel. So that's what Kash Patel is, dear listener. He's like this behind-the-scenes guy. You rarely see him come out in front of the curtain, but Real Clear Investigations got him this week. And it was very informative. And he does not specify the information. He literally says, Real Clear Investigations asked him, okay, what was in those documents? He was like, bro, okay, listen, if I tell you that, the FBI is going to come knocking at my door in a minute, and I don't really want the FBI coming and knocking at my door. Understandable, right? He was like, but it's unfortunate because the American people are never going to see these documents unless Biden acts. You think that's going to happen, dear listener? Nope. Nope. Spygate over. Spygate over. Kash Patel said as much, right? Let me read a little bit from this article. I'm going to take it from the lead. It goes thus. It's the Real Clear Investigations piece. After 4 years of railing against deep state actors who, he said, tried to undermine his presidency, Donald Trump relented to U.S. intelligence leaders in his final days in office, allowing them to block the release of critical material in the Russia investigation, according to a former senior congressional investigator who later joined the Trump administration. That's Kash Patel. Kash Patel, whose work on the House Intelligence Committee helped unearth the U.S. intelligence malpractice during the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane probe, said he does not know why Trump did not force the release of the intelligence officials, continuously impeded their release. I think I missed a sentence, but it's fine, dear listener. You're getting the point anyway. Patel said Trump's CIA director, Gina Haspel, was instrumental in blocking one of the most critical documents. He said, now, why is this, dear listener? Why is this? Well, it's because Gina Haspel was in touch of the EU Bureau of the CIA at the time that Spygate was going on. This means completely that Gina Haspel was orchestrating the hit against President Trump's campaign and the first days of his administration. And then he hired her into the CIA. Okay. Now, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know anywhere near as much as Kash Patel knows, right? Now, this is not his question. This is my question. Okay. Was this a surrender or was this a trap? And this is not Q shit, dear listener. This is not Q shit, okay? Was this a trap that the president sprung? Why was it that he didn't force the intelligence agencies to release those documents, right? I mean, we're never going to find out, so it's a lark question, okay? We're never going to find out, okay? But why did he do that? Why didn't he follow through? It's an intriguing question because it's not like Trump to not follow through on something like this, is it, dear listener? No, it's not, unless he had an ulterior motive. ODNI did not release them because they got hand-tied by the CIA, by Gina Haspel. That's what happened here, okay? Other developments have happened. John Bull Durham has resigned as U.S. attorney for the, specifically, let me not get this right, for the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. He is still the special counsel looking into Spygate, but he resigned as the attorney for the District of D.C., okay? Why? I don't know.
I mean, but dude, do you really think that's going to materialize into anything at this point?
No.
It's over.
It's over. No. There's going to be so much about this that's going to be disgusting. Kash Patel told us this week in that video that it was disgusting, right? We're not going to find out. No. Yeah. No, it's over. It's over. This was failure theater orchestrated by William Barr the entire time, right? So there you have it. There you have it, dear listener. So very pill of coloring stuff. Very pill of coloring stuff. Let me get more pill of coloring. I've got a gateway piece here. Outrage. Former Assistant Attorney General John Carlin, who illegally withheld info from the FISA court in 2016, returns as acting deputy AG under Biden. Dear listener, that means that John Carlin is what Rod Rosenstein was under Jeff Sessions. That's what he is. Now, he is a Department of Justice official. He was the one who lied to the FISA court in order to get the warrants against Carter Page, George Papadopoulos. He was the one, and he lied by omission. And now he is acting deputy director of the Department of Justice, right? The gang's back together, dear listener. Proof that nothing is going to happen. The gang is back together now. right? Biden put them back together butt quick. Took him, 34 days to get it done? Dear listener, smoke screen, and it's over. And it's over. We need Bongino on the scene on this. Dear listener, we need Bongino on the scene because Bongino's got that cop mind, right? Bongino's got that cop mind. And if not Bongino, then nobody. Certainly nothing official from the United States government. Sad, man. Sad. But you know what? I was pilled in the early days. I was like, oh yeah, man, Durham's gonna get him. And we both called it shortly after the election. Our first episode after the election. Okay, well, that's it for Spygate. That's it. We both called it. We were right. And it's borne out in evidence this week, dear listener. That's sad, man. It's sad. The U.S. government just got away with running a hit on Donald Trump's campaign and his administration, right? As we have already said in these hallowed halls, dear listener, it was Obama entirely behind this. Don't ever doubt it. We know it was, as evidenced by the January 7th meeting in 2017. We know this, right? Susan Rice, Obama, Biden, right? James Comey, Clapper, Brennan. You know the names. There may be a slap on the wrist prosecution somewhere here or there, dear listener, a small slap on the wrist. Nothing's going to happen. It's over. So that's where we're at on Obamagate, Luke. Pill of coloring, man. Coloring.
I mean, dude, but these are the things where I can't get pill of colored anymore. It's to me, I would be pilled if it weren't that case. You know what I mean? Like if I expect, this is what I expect, in other words. So I would be surprised and pilled if it didn't happen this way. So
yeah,
for me, it's just, but of course. And I knew that.
Now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when nothing happened at the end of July, I knew then that I was just like, it's over.
Pretty much hashtag me too. Yeah. Right about that time. I was like, yeah, this is, yeah.
And then of course everyone's like, oh, but just wait until December 6th. Oh, and we've got, Lynn Wood out here doing his thing, and just, it's like, God, these people just let us down time and time again. And at some point you just have to say, all right, enough is enough. I'm not going to believe a damn word any of you say, and I'm not going to believe in any of you until now you have to prove to me that you can deliver.
Yep. Yeah. So, dear listener, once again, to reify what it was that Luke and I said and came down on it pretty hard. Okay. To me, it doesn't matter anymore whether the QAnon thing was real or fake. That doesn't matter. Okay. What does matter is that it didn't work. Yeah. Nothing happened. Right. You judge a tree by its fruits, right? That tree bore no fruit whatsoever. So we can have all these discussions about how fascinating the movement is and, who actually is Q and all that kind of stuff. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It didn't work. Yeah. Was it a LARP? Who cares? Who even cares if it was a LARP? It didn't work.
Yeah.
So,
it's pointless to talk about at this point.
Yeah, it is. It sure is.
So
yeah. So yeah.
All right, you had another topic. I mean, let's talk about stimulus.
Okay.
Because the stimulus goes on and on and on and on, and it's like, at what point, we're just indebting ourselves. That's all it is. We're just indebting ourselves. It doesn't stimulate the economy. We know it doesn't stimulate the economy. It's sort of like the lockdowns. If the lockdowns worked, we wouldn't have had to do them again. And same thing with the stimulus. So we're just wasting money at this point and spending needlessly. Other countries who've had way worse lockdown, like way more severe lockdowns, economically speaking, like Germany, they're not doing this bullshit. This is America trying to stimulate itself into oblivion.
Yeah. A good way to put it, man. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
There's a quote. I'm looking to pull it up right now. Have you ever heard the Vladimir Lenin quote on On money.
Yes. I think we've read it on the show. Where did I write that down?
I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this Lenin quote every single time we pass a new omnibus spending bill. Okay, y'all
Do
ready
it.
for this?
Yeah. Bring it.
All right. So this is Vladimir Lenin. Okay, hundreds of thousands of ruble notes are being issued daily, and this was in 1919 that he said this. Hundreds of thousands of ruble notes are being issued daily by our treasury. This is done not in order to fill the coffers of the state with practically worthless paper, but with the deliberate intention of destroying the value of money as a means of payment. There is no justification for the existence of money in the Bolshevik state, where the necessities of life shall be paid for by work alone. Experience has taught us that it is impossible to root out the evils of capitalism merely by confiscation and expropriation. For however ruthlessly such measures may be applied, astute speculators and obstinate survivors of the capitalist classes will always manage to evade them and continue to corrupt the life of the community. The simplest way to exterminate the very spirit of capitalism is therefore to flood the country with notes of high face value without financial guarantees of any sort. Already, even 100 ruble note is almost valueless in Russia. Soon, even the simplest peasant will realize that it is only a scrap of paper, not worth more than the rags from which it is manufactured. Men will cease to covet and hoard it so soon as they discover it will not buy anything, and the great illusion of the value and power of money on which the capitalist state is based will have been definitely destroyed. So what we are doing through these stimulus and this omnibus spending bills and all the shit that we're doing in the Middle East is we are spending ourselves into oblivion, indebting ourselves into oblivion. And one day, people say, "Oh, we're going to be Venezuela." I mean, that's a anachronistic way to put it. It's not that we're going to be Venezuela. It's that our currency is going to be as useless and worthless on a daily basis as Venezuelan currency.
Yep.
And that's what all of this is going to do. At some point, the gravy train has to end. And where that ends is our money being essentially worth less than the paper upon which is printed.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this, and Republicans are going along. Nobody's even saying anything about it. It's absolute insanity. We need to be talking about the debt. We need to be talking about the Fed. We need to be talking about these things because this is going to destroy our country. And if it's not in this lifetime, it's going to be some future lifetime. I mean, you said on the show one time, Russ, it was something like we are 5 generations deep into debt right now.
We are. Yeah, we are.
It's going to take 5 even if we stop if we reduce government spending to zero today, it'll take 5 generations to pay it off.
Reduce government spending to zero and give all of our paycheck to the government. It takes 5 generations. No, it takes, I'm sorry, if we did it that way, I think it takes about 7 years. 7 years if everybody gives all of their money to the government. If we keep some for ourselves, 7 generations. Dear listener, and also don't forget 5 generations. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's soon to be 6 because we're going to hit 30 trillion once we pass this $1.9 trillion stimulus package, most of which goes overseas. I've got a great piece about that pulled up. I'll read it here in just a sec. Dear listener, the hidden fact here, okay? Finally, people are starting to cop to the fact that we're paying $400 billion per quarter in interest on our debt. $400 billion per quarter. No. It's like 650 billion. So finally, at least people are beginning to acknowledge how deep this shithole is we've dug ourselves into. But man, we just keep digging. And
the Republicans won't do a damn thing about it.
No, they won't. Representative Gosar from Arizona came out and he proposed on the House an amendment that would strike all of the pork out of this bill and give $10,000 of relief stimulus to every American citizen. No illegals. Illegals are excluded, which they're entirely included in this stimulus bill, dear listener. Entirely included. We're going to be giving stimulus to illegal immigrants. Think about that. They say it's 11 million. No, dear listener, it's 60. It's 60, maybe 50, right? At least Harvard and Yale agree that it's 22, but nobody wants to use that number yet. And we're also about to amnesty them as well. Get ready. That comes next. Luke, it's a spending nightmare out of which I do not see how we can dig ourselves. And frankly, Donald Trump didn't really do us any favors on that. at all. He really just didn't.
No, that was my
Yeah.
biggest, that was my single biggest complaint and letdown
Same
about
here.
Trump, was that
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I would have 10 times over. I would have had him. I wish I would have traded his rhetoric on the wall, or his fervor about the wall. I would have traded that for his fervor about the debt 10 times over.
Yeah. 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 That is why Ross Perot did so well in 1992, dear listener, and he was right. Right. And we were not even 2 trillion in the hole in 1992. Right now, we're about to be $30 trillion in the hole. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, dude.
It is.
Um,
It is.
by the way, I never got my first stimmy check.
You didn't? Huh? You
No.
should have. Huh?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. It said they mailed it, but I never got it. So
Huh.
I
That's
gotta figure out. I gotta figure out what happened with that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if there's like a number I can call. I haven't really looked into it.
I don't know about that either. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
corporations got a lot more than what your check was, man. So foreign nations got a lot more than what your check was. So, and it's happening all over again.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Syria got a lot more than what my check would have
sure
been
did.
in the
They
form of bombs
sure
this
did.
week.
Yeah, they did.
I just, oh my God, dude. I just like, I'm kind of bummed out that I've been disengaged with politics on Twitter, because I would have loved to jump on Twitter and see everyone maybe you tell me, maybe you can tell me, what is the Twitter sphere been saying? What is the leftist Twitter sphere? What is the leftist people? What have they been saying? Like, are they defending Biden's actions in Syria? Are they
I've got to be honest. I don't know. I don't know. First of all, there's not a lot of information about it because the government didn't really cop to it. That is, the Biden administration didn't really inform anyone and cop to it, right? So, dear listener, we bombed Syria, killed 22 people at least, all of them Syrian nationals. Okay, this was supposed to be in retaliation. Actually, Luke, let's get to Syria here in just a second. But can we stay on this stimulus bill here for just a sec? I got.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. All right, in Syria right after. Okay. All right. I'm going to take it from about 5 paragraphs down. The title of the piece, dear listener, is Joe Obama and Pelosi present $1.9 trillion donor bailout bill under auspices of COVID relief. I'm going to take it kind of about a few paragraphs down the piece. It goes thus. Why all of this effort? Why such extremes? Why would blue state governors willingly destroy their economy? Follow the money. It's always about the money. The global ideology is worthless without money. Globalist ideology is worthless without money. Wall Street's Rick Santelli knows he is the second deployment of an identity. He says it is the second deployment of an identical playbook. This is true. This is the point of this piece. So when your friends ask why, you know what? Let's talk about why. The response to the opportunity of the financial crisis in 2007, 2008 was all about using the housing market collapse to create a financial mechanism to bail out blue team members. TARP, auto bailouts, QE1, QE2, and the stimulus packages were specifically directed to the controlled crony capitalists who funded the rise of the previous tool, Barack Obama. In 2009, the orcs were deployed beyond the Wall Street crowd. The SEIU, the union, AFL-CIO, AFS-CME, NEA were some of the more visible political activist beneficiaries. There was a massive hole in the U.S. economy, and all the American Recovery and Investment Act, the ARRA funds, were specifically targeted to ensure the blue team did not suffer. Winners and losers were selected. Overall, Main Street didn't get a dime. In 2020, we are seeing the exact same operational execution around COVID-19. This time, the crisis is a virus, and the planned primary beneficiaries are still the blue team states and their collapsing and unstable financial mechanisms. Sorry about that. Financial Mexicans. All right. Change the title of the show, maybe. The American electorate writ large would never have supported targeted taxpayer-funded bailouts to the blue state beneficiaries. As a consequence, the crisis needs to hit Main Street so that public support for massive bailouts can be accepted. Nancy Pelosi sets up the proposal, takes the accounting of the blue team needs, and sits down with inside party club members to organize the funding mechanisms. Obviously, All of this big picture outcome is contingent upon successful execution of President Trump's removal, hence the firm reliance on election fraud. The transparency of the fraud needs to be obfuscated, denied, and ridiculed, and that's where the media comes in. And Sundance goes off on a tangent right here, so we're going to leave the piece right here. But dear listener, he is exactly spot on. What we are seeing right now. All right, dear listener, by my calculation, part of, everybody's getting $1,400. Every American citizen and illegal in the United States is getting a $1,400 stimulus, which, you know what, for most of us, again, that ain't even going to pay rent, comes out to about $462 billion. Okay, $462 billion. Okay, $315 billion are going overseas. Blue states and blue cities are going to be entirely bailed out to the tune of another $300 billion. It's just absolutely disgusting, the amount of pork that went into this bill. Dear listener, unions are being bailed out because, oh my God, they couldn't work. Well, they got paid anyway, right? $21,000 of back stimulus for every federal employee. Dear listener, $21,000 for every federal employee. $1,400 for you.
Yeah, and that's just, and this whole thing about like, oh, because they couldn't work. Well, look, the union's already bankrupt. They're constantly and perpetually either going bankrupt or about to go bankrupt because they are an organized crime syndicate. It's a Ponzi scheme, and it's not profitable. They destroy businesses. They, I worked in San Francisco for a hotel that had 7 restaurants at one point. Once they unionized, 50 years later, they had 2.
Yeah,
and they're barely profitable.
Right.
And they're barely profitable in spite of being like iconic San Francisco restaurants. And the idea that like Bart, Russ, before the show, you had mentioned Bart getting, which is Bay Area Rapid Transportation, getting $300 million.
Yeah,
this is literally just them shucking out money for the unions. That's it.
Yep. That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. They say that they're going to undergo construction from the end at San Francisco Airport down to San Jose. No, they're not. It's $300 million of free money. That's all it is. It's constituency payoff. Dear listener, Sundance is exactly correct. This is exactly what happened in the 2008 financial collapse, right? Constituency groups were bailed out. Remember Solyndra? Remember them? Yeah, you don't. They got what, $100 million from the Obama bailout and went bankrupt with it because it was a stupid idea in the first place. Yeah. That's what this is again. And you get $1,400. Every country in the world is getting a lot more money than you are, dear listener. It's frankly disgusting. And now we're going to be $30 trillion in the hole. Dear listener, Luke and I have always said this, okay? We're at the event horizon of the black hole. Okay. We are already at the point where we can't grow our way out of this financial black hole. We can't do it. The American economy raises $4.5 trillion a year in tax receipts. $4.5 trillion a year. Hence the 7 years, if everybody gave all of their money to the government, right, and government spending stopped, which it won't, take us 7 years to pay off. So it's terrifying, man. And oh my God, the stuff that is in this bill. Oh yeah, guess what else is in it, Luke? Guess what else is in the bill?
What's that?
$15 an hour minimum wage is legislated into law by this bill. Yep.
Yeah. I was about to ask. So that's a done deal now. So in Texas, for example, it's $15 an hour.
Yep, it will be. Yeah, if it passes, dude. Yeah, it will be. Yeah. There is a chance that it'll be overturned in the Senate because there are 2 senators, Joe Manchin, and I don't know the other one, 2 Democrat senators who were like, no, we're not doing $15 an hour minimum wage, period. So there's a chance that amendment will be stricken from the bill, but I'm calling it very slim.
$15 an hour job destruction. You know what minimum wage is, dear listener? Minimum wage, all minimum wages from an economic standpoint, right? We can talk about the morality of it, right? And it's truly evil in that respect. We can talk about the history of it, and it's truly racist in that respect.
It is.
But if you want to talk purely economics, all minimum wage means is that all jobs worth less than X dollars per hour, whatever minimum wage is, in this case 15, all it means is that all jobs worth less than $15 an hour are now illegal. That's
Yep.
it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean everybody gets paid $15 an hour. It doesn't mean if you were getting paid 12, now you're getting paid 15, or if you were getting paid 9, now you're getting paid 15. All it means is that all jobs worth less than $15 an hour are now illegal.
Yep.
And abolished out of existence permanently
Yep.
until it's lowered again or minimum wage itself is abolished. And why is it so important that we keep raising minimum wage? Well, because you do this, and then here in the next few years, in 5 years, $20 an hour is going to be the new minimum
That's
wage.
exactly
because
right.
Because our
Yep.
currency is being inflated, because we're spending on debt, because we're destroying our own currency. So this is a vicious cycle, and it is never going to end.
Yep.
And
That's right.
that's all it is. So they're buying votes, but they also have to, because they're also inflating our currency. They're also destroying our currency.
Yep.
And in 5 years, $20 an hour is going to be the new minimum wage, or the new living wage, right? Which is itself an anti-concept, living wage. But this is minimum wage. It's truly evil. What it does is it sets up a situation in which they are the least educated and the least able are the most discriminated against. That's what minimum wage is.
Yeah.
So if you're a black inner city urban youth, the worst possible thing that can happen to you is a $15 minimum wage, because now you're fucked. You're not worth. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just laying it out there. This has nothing to do with race or inner city. I mean, this is just that demographic of people. It's just a fact, right? If you're of that demographic people, you didn't graduate, and it doesn't have to be black. It could be white, whatever. Like, if you're in that demographic, you have low education, you didn't graduate high school, you're not really trained, you didn't do an apprenticeship, and you're just, you are a low socioeconomic demographic, you are way disproportionately impacted by minimum wage, every $15 minimum wage, because now it's going to be that much more difficult for you to get a job.
Yep.
You have to go to an employer and say, look, you have to prove that I'm worth $15. He otherwise could have normally said, look, I like you. I don't know that you have the skills to do this job because the job's worth $15 an hour, but I'll tell you what, I'll hire you at 10. Let's see how you perform. And then we'll talk about moving you up to 15 later. It just chops your legs out. It just chops these people, mostly kids and mostly inner city urban youth, just chops their legs out from under them and fucks them over. These people are the victims of minimum wage. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, the history of minimum wage was labor unions in the automobile industry in Michigan trying to price blacks out of the labor market.
That's exactly
right. The origins of minimum wage in the United States was trying to price blacks out of the labor market who were going north to work in automobile production facilities.
That's exactly
in the early
right.
1900s.
Yep.
So it's racist. It's immoral. Racism is immoral, but it's in general immoral. It's specifically historically the origins are racist in nature. And it's an absolute disaster for the people who are the least able to deal with financial hardship.
Oh yeah.
And on top of that, we're all affected by it, dude. Like, Russ, when I go eat, like, if you want to get a McDonald's, if you want to eat at McDonald's,
took the words right out of my mouth, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I loved it when I was in college. When I would eat out, my treat when I wanted to treat myself was the $1 menu at McDonald's. I could get 2 double cheeseburgers and 2 hot and spicies for $4 plus tax. In Texas, it was what would that have been? 8% at the time, roughly, so like
probably
$4.32.
about like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could scrape together some change and go stuff myself at McDonald's, and that was me treating myself when I was absolutely broke. And I'd put aside, 50 cents for a 40, and afterwards. But here in Germany, it's like if you want to just go get like the most basic of meals, like just fries and a burger and a drink, it's like €9.
It is here too. Yeah. McDonald's is expensive now. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like it's insane. It's like €9. I mean, that's $10.
Yeah.
So like there's no dollar menu here. There's like a $4 menu, $5 menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and this is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. In 5-10 years, $20, because now $15 doesn't get you McDonald's anymore. Now you're too poor for McDonald's because everybody at McDonald's is making $15 an hour. Right. So McDonald's has to hike their prices up. And the last point I'll make on this, all these same people who talk about wanting, a living wage, which is an anti-concept, and I can go into that if you want, but if you want me to, let me know. But basically, I'll just say very, very quickly that it's taking two concepts which are otherwise unrelated, like living and wage.
Right.
Right.
Conceptual package dealing. Yeah.
And then cramming them together. And we all like, wage is like just what it is. It's not a moral judge. It's not good or bad, but we all know living's good. So if we, attach living to wage, then suddenly living wage, oh, that must be a good thing because living is good. So I want a living wage. So living wage must be a good thing. And then when you propose, $15 minimum wage, that's the new living wage. Well, then that must be $15 an hour minimum wage must be a good thing because that's the living wage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna make one last point. These people that are advocating for minimum wage are the exact same people who are bitching and complaining about automation.
Oh yeah.
Automation.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. Automation.
Yeah.
There is no better. I can guarantee you every lobbyist who is representing a company building tools and solutions for automation, burger making automation, warehouse automation, all these lobbyists, I can guarantee you are out there going $15 an hour minimum wage. Let's do it because it's going to destroy so many jobs that there is no better way to ensure investment into the development and deployment of automation than to raise the minimum wage.
Absolutely.
Because you're just destroying their competition. And now these companies are like, holy shit. All right, we need to invest in minimum wage and get our labor costs down now. Because that's the only it's illegal for us to do it by just paying less. So now we have to invest a bunch of money into R&D. Luke Watkins, thanks for joining in the chat. 29-cent hamburgers and 39-cent cheeseburger special back in the day. I know, dude. I know. I remember that actually.
Yeah. And now there's not even a dollar.
I remember going to Pepe Taco in Bryan, Texas and getting 79-cent bean burritos, man.
Yep. And dear listener, if you doubt us on this, everything Luke says is borne out by the evidence that blasted on Zero Hedge last night at 9 p.m. Texas time. I'm going to read paragraph 2. A new report via payments company Square titled Future of Restaurants discusses an overview of how technology is sweeping through the industry. Square partnered with Wakefield Research to survey 500 restaurant owners and managers across the country. About 91% of respondents said that they have made plans to invest in automation. There you go. What are you going to do? You're going to pass a law saying, oh, no, you can't have automation now. We've got to have living wages. They have no choice. They close their doors or they automate, right? They can't pay $15 an hour. And I mean, dear listener, Luke took the words right out of my mouth. Your Big Macs are about to get a hell of a lot more expensive. A hell of a lot more. Your cheeseburgers, your double cheese, right?
That's the most American complaint.
Yeah.
Dear listener, your Big Macs are about to get way more expensive. Revolution.
But dear listener, this is going to have a cascading effect because these things become more expensive, right? Everybody has to pay more across every sector for everything, not just wage, costs, toilet paper, right? Because Big Macs are more expensive now, toilet paper will be more expensive.
Well,
canned goods, everything will.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe if people are eating less Big Macs, they won't need as much toilet paper. So there's that.
There's that. So maybe. So, but Noah, but dear listener, I think the most important thing about all of this is that these, oh my God, living wage jobs, they're not supposed to be living wage jobs. This is a fabricated, conceptually packaged, dealt term that is nonsense, easy to pick apart, right? These jobs were supposed to be entry to the workforce types of jobs, right? Where you go make $2 an hour, $3.35 an hour. When I was a kid, it was $3.35, right? To flip Big Macs, right? It was a job for high school students. These were never meant to be jobs that people put my kids on. It wasn't ever meant to be that, right? Well, the left has run with it and run with it and run with it and run with it. And Luke is right. Now we're in a death spiral that will never end. It will never end.
It's not that I don't think I've heard that narrative a lot. I don't think that it was ever meant to be. I don't think that a burger place opened and they're like, these are supposed to be high school jobs, because like I love burgers. I have a meat grinder and I grind up on my own meat. And it's just, I love making burgers. I have a ribeye and I went and bought some American bacon, which is special. If you don't know, dear listener, leave America and live somewhere else, and then you will get about 6 months in and realize you haven't had good bacon in 6 months. And so anyways, I'm going to grind up some bacon into that ribeye, and then make some smash burgers. But like the origins of the burger are smash burgers, but these were like real workers. You know what I mean? Like these were guys who were 30, 40 years old way back in the day, in the 20s, the 30s, and that was their job. They had a job. It was dignified work. But over the course of time, they became high school kid jobs because of things like taxes, like regulations. Shit got more expensive. Suddenly you can't flip burgers and support your family anymore. Now you've got to go do something else to support your family.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
you know,
it used to be. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and it got to a point where those jobs were relegated to the least educated. Again, the least educated, the people with the least skills, and that you could pay the least, and those are generally high school kids, high school dropouts, and those people, the best they could hope is to rise to managerial positions, and who knows, maybe even one day open a store of their own, you know, down the line. But yeah, I get I get the spirit, the thrust of what you're saying, but I don't think I think that's an important distinction to point out, that it became that over time. It was not that those jobs were created for the explicit purpose of that.
That is correct. There is another, you know, dear listener, in the 50s, a single person working for, like what Steve Bannon said on the War Room today or yesterday, a single person, right? A father working for the phone company could support a family of 5 easily, right? With 2 cars in the garage and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, there is another important clarification that we need to make about this. What Luke said about like the 20s and 30s and people flipping burgers for a living and it being dignified work. All work is dignified. All work is dignified. Okay. This also was in the context of the Great Depression. Okay. What was the Great Depression, dear listener? Well, it was exactly what we're doing now. Overspending, overinvestment, a push-pull in the economy. Pressure from the top, pressure from the bottom, right? And the economy collapsed. And you know what the Depression is, so let's not get into it, right? But what Luke is talking about flipping burgers back in the 20s and 30s, there was an infinite supply of labor at this point in time because everybody, 25% of the country, would do anything to make a dime at that point in time. We are heading exactly there right now by these minimum wage policies, by this stimulus spending, by this $30 trillion in debt. I mean, it's going to happen again. It's just a matter of when it pops. What pops? Like it was real estate that first popped in 2008, right? Stocks popped in the Great Depression. That first happened, okay? That's what caused the cascading events, right? It's only a matter of what pops next. And meanwhile, I don't know. I suppose I could segue into Syria. Meanwhile, we're going to go spend, you know, what we dropped. I think it was 5,500-pound bombs, 2,500-pound bombs on Syria. Yeah, probably to the tune of $1 million a piece, you know?
Yeah. How it actually gets way more than that. Yeah.
I bet it is too. Yeah, I don't know the data on that though, dear listener. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So,
did you see the mashup of the tweet that Biden put out?
No.
Oh, this is brilliant. I'll read it. Hold on one sec. I gotta find it. It's right here. So Biden tweeted out on June 22nd of 2019. He tweeted out, Trump's erratic, impulsive actions are the last thing we need as commander-in-chief. No president should order a military strike without fully understanding the consequences. We don't need another war in the Middle East, but Trump's actions toward Iran only make that more likely. Then, news article, Biden orders airstrikes in Syria, retaliating against Iran-backed militias 30 some odd days into his presidency.
Yeah.
Already getting us back into the war.
Yeah, we're at war now. That's it. We're at war. This will not end, dear listener. It will not end. And I will tell you why. The shortcut to understanding this is that Obama always wanted Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria. He wanted his regime overturned. Always did. So Biden, Joe Obama, as conservative treehouse calls him, comes right back in and picks up exactly where they started, right? Trump did bomb Syria, to be fair, dear listener, but he killed none. And he basically, when he bombed, he left a hole in a runway. That was about it. Like no aircraft were even destroyed when Trump attacked Syria. I was madder than hell about that, as I am madder than hell about this, because, dear listener, that was one thing Trump did really well. Getting us out of wars, right? That means we're not spending money, is what that means. That was great. His performance was fantastic on that. Well, Joe Biden's going to undo that too. So,
yeah, dude, it's truly harrowing that we're getting back in. I mean, there's an old saying that Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires.
Yeah,
and
I've heard that.
I think that's I think that's more broadly true for the whole of the Middle East. But Alexander the Great.
Yep.
I mean, the list goes on.
Yep.
Russia.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. The list goes on and on and on. And that's entirely true. And here we are, involving ourselves, indebting ourselves to the Middle East. Not to the Middle East, but over the Middle East, over nothing, over literally nothing. You're not going to change them. They've been this way for millennia, literally. And they're not going to change. And they're looking at us like we are complete, absolute morons.
Yeah. Yeah.
As they should.
Yeah, they should. You're right. They should. Deservedly so. Guilty as charged. Dear listener, think about this. Think about the absurdity of it just in terms of this for just a moment, okay? The rocket attack in which the U.S. contractor was killed Monday before last happened in Iraq. It was alleged that it was an Iranian force. That's probably true. And we go and attack Syria. It's like 9/11, dear listener. Okay, Osama bin Laden was Saudi. Okay, 17 of the 19 riders of the hijacked planes were Saudi, and we go attack Iraq. There it is. It's all this foreign interventionism again. All this foreign interventionism. It's ridiculous. And it costs a lot of money and American blood. Most importantly, and American blood. And this is an escalation we just don't need right now. And dear listener, we called it, what was it, Luke, 2 episodes back? We reported about the convoy of 40 American trucks moving from Iraq into Syria. I was like, I always wondered where the war would be. I knew Biden was going to get us into a war ASAP. I always thought it would be a re-escalation in Afghanistan. And I said, nope, it's going to be Syria. And Luke agreed. Luke was like, yeah, it's Syria. Well, it's Syria. There you go. It's Syria. So the Obama administration did everything he could to frame Bashar al-Assad for gassing children. Remember, all of that crap, dear listener, was all lies. All of it. It was all a setup in order to overthrow the regime, right? Again, Biden's going to pick up exactly there. So, happy day. So, where do you think this goes, Luke? I think it goes on to full out war. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it'll be something to that effect. Full out war. It'll all be blamed on Trump, of course. It'll be the reason we're doing this is because of what Trump did.
Yeah,
he didn't handle business over there, so now we've got to make up for it all. That's how it'll be branded to the American people.
That's exactly correct. Yep, that's exactly correct. So, yep.
So what do we got next, dude? What's next on the docket? Are we how far are we in now? We're what, 58 minutes? I think then okay, dude. We're break now, I think. And then
break now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So dear listener, I have so much audio from the week. I have an awesome Bannon rant from the War Room this week. I have a good Tucker rant. I have Kash Patel's interview with Real Clear Investigations. I have all kind of stuff. But when Luke and I got on the horn before our call, we decided unanimously it has to be Kristi Noem's speech from CPAC yesterday. Right? It has to be. I've not seen all of it yet. I have to confess. Luke did see it, and he said she blew it up. Is that right, Luke? She absolutely blew it up. Is that right?
Yeah, there was some stuff that I was just like, I know the right does this, and I expect it, but they go on about our God-given rights and this and that, and I wish they would just lay off of it. Not because I'm like, oh, we need to eject God from the Republican Party, but it just alienates people. And there's just better. I mean, we don't need to harp on it. And I know that it's probably going to ruffle some feathers, but I just don't care. It doesn't work. It alienates a shitload of people. 40% of young people and Republicans aren't even at least young Republicans, aren't even religious at this point anyways.
It's true.
And we need to stop pretending that they are and start using more philosophical, reason-based defense of, and Cropper and I will probably get into this, maybe, more philosophical, reason-based thinking that doesn't cater to these people, but includes them, because the way we're doing it now is just, it's our God-given right. And if you don't believe in God, then you don't believe in rights. And it's like, Jesus, you know,
once
come
again,
on.
conceptual package dealing. And dear listener, Luke is not so religious. I am. I actually am, right? But I agree with Luke 100% on this. We've got to separate this out. The founders created the country that way, with separation of church and state, for a reason. And now they're literally trying to argue on the right that, oh, no, there was no separation of church and state. It was meant to be. No, it wasn't. This is not a theocracy. It's not, right?
They're trying to bring it together where it's like, oh, well, we have such a great state because of the church.
Right. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. So
but again, I don't want to go on about it. That's my only complaint. Other than that, I think she did a fantastic job. She really, I really think that I wouldn't be surprised if she has a presidential run in 2024. And I would support her if she decided to announce. At this point, I would have to see who the other candidates are to decide if I would support her over them. But I like her. I think that her messaging is on point. I like the way she handled South Dakota she's the governor of South Dakota.
She handled it very well. Yeah.
She handled it better than any other state. They didn't lock anything down. They didn't quibble over what are essential businesses. Instead, and I kind of alluded to this in the show description, instead they quibbled over what's essential government. And that's the real question to be asking ourselves is we should be asking ourselves, no. We're not talking about essential businesses. We should be talking about what's essential government, and what's non-essential, just get rid of it all. Just get rid of it all permanently. We don't need a pandemic to get rid of non-essential government. All of it should be just gone, just burned down and stripped away.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron DeSantis, in my book, is also looking really good for a presidential run, and for the way he handled the state of Florida during the pandemic. He's looking really good. It's going to be interesting, the field of 2024 candidates. And I don't know, dear listener, there is a lot of speculation out there there are people saying that they think Donald Trump is going to announce his candidacy today. I don't think that, for the record.
I don't think so. I think
it's going to be more business, you know?
Yeah, I think he's ready to play a more behind the scenes role.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't think he'll run in 2024. Could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but I don't think he will. So yeah. Yep.
All right, dude. So let's do it.
All right. Did you get my request for the screen share right there? Did you get that?
I did. Are you ready for me to add it?
Not yet. Let me get us up out of here, and as soon as I hit play, you be good. You good to punch it then? Is that good? Oh, dang, it's about to rain.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, dear listener, thank you so much for riding halfway down this 117-mile trek. We've made it halfway. We hope you're having as much fun as we are. Luke and I are going to refresh beverages, take a break here for a minute. We're going to play Christy Gnome for you, and we hope we enjoy it. You set your watch to this. Luke and I will be back at you in 10 minutes before you know it. All right, here we go, Luke.
All right.
But unlike the DC media, I'm sure that you all at least know that there are 2 Dakotas, and that I'm the governor of the warmer one. Now, I'm here today to share some of the lessons from my state. I think the main question that needs to be answered this weekend is, why does America need conservatives? Now, the question of why America needs conservatives can be answered by just mentioning one single year. And that year is 2020. Now, everybody knows that almost overnight, we went from a roaring economy to a tragic nationwide shutdown. By the beginning of 2020, President Trump had created 7 million new American jobs. We had the lowest unemployment rate in over half a century, and unemployment rates for Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans reached the lowest levels in history. More than 10 million people had been lifted out of poverty and out of welfare, and all of that changed in March. Now, most governors shut down their states. What followed was record unemployment, businesses closed, most schools were shuttered, and communities suffered. And the US economy came to an immediate halt. Now, let me be clear. COVID didn't crush the economy. Government crushed the economy. And then, just as quickly, government turned around and held itself out as the savior. And frankly, the Treasury Department can't print money fast enough to keep up with Congress's wish list. But not everyone has followed this path. For those of you who don't know, South Dakota is the only state in America that never ordered a single business or church to close. We never instituted a shelter-in-place order. We never mandated that people wear masks. We never even defined what an essential business is, because I don't believe that governors have the authority to tell you that your business isn't essential. Now, South Dakota schools are no different than schools everywhere else in America. But we approached the pandemic differently. From the earliest days of the pandemic, our priority was the students, their well-being, and their education. When it was time to go back to school in the fall, we put our kids in the classroom. Teachers, administrators, parents, and the students themselves were of one mind to make things work for our children. And the best way to do that was in the classroom. Now, in South Dakota, I provided all of the information that we had to our people, and then I trusted them to make the best decisions for themselves, for their families, and in turn, their communities. We never focused on the case numbers. Instead, we kept our eye on hospital capacity. Now, Dr. Fauci, he told me that on my worst day, I'd have 10,000 patients in the hospital. On our worst day, we had a little over 600. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot. Even in a pandemic, public health policy needs to take into account people's economic and social well-being. Daily needs still need to be met. People need to keep a roof over their heads. They need to feed their families, and they still need purpose. They need their dignity. Now, my administration resisted the call for virus control at the expense of everything else. We looked at the science, the data, and the facts, and then we took a balanced approach. Truthfully, I never thought that the decisions that I was making were going to be unique. I thought that there would be more who would follow basic conservative principles, but I guess I was wrong. Ask yourself this question: how far will people go to enforce mask mandates? Once you start lockdowns, how long can you sustain them? In South Dakota, we had some cases in March and April, but the virus didn't really hit the Midwest until late fall. Should we have kept people in their homes from March onward? Of course not. You know, it's important to ask these questions. We have to show people how arbitrary these restrictions are, and the coercion, the force, and the anti-liberty steps that governments take to enforce them. Often, the enforcement isn't based on facts. Justifying these mitigation efforts has been anything but scientific. Now, many in the media, they criticized South Dakota's approach. They labeled me as ill-informed, that I was reckless, and even a denier. Some even claimed that South Dakota was as bad as it gets anywhere in the world when it comes to COVID-19. That is a lie. The media did all of this while simultaneously praising governors who issued lockdowns. who mandated masks and shut down businesses, applauding them as having taken the right steps to mitigate the spread of the virus. At one point, I appeared on George Stephanopoulos' Sunday show. I don't know if you watched that. No, you don't? Shocker.
I did.
He had just wrapped up a segment with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, where he asked Cuomo to give me some advice on how to deal with COVID. Now seems like a really good time to remind everyone of what Governor Cuomo was doing in New York. On March 25th, Cuomo ordered COVID patients into nursing homes, and he prohibited the staff from testing people before admitting them. 9 days later, he pushed legislation prohibiting nursing home lawsuits over COVID deaths. 6 days after that, he prohibited nursing homes from sending COVID patients to the nearby naval hospital ship or the field hospital, both of which were essentially empty. Now, 8 days after that, the first deaths started to show up. And on January 28th of this year, the New York Attorney General announced that Cuomo and his administration significantly undercounted the number of COVID-related deaths in nursing homes by as much as 50%. To make matters worse, they tried to cover it up. Now that is the media's COVID hero. And by the way, he also earned an Emmy, and he wrote a book on his COVID response. So who really needed the advice? Again, in South Dakota, we did things differently. We applied common sense and conservative governing principles. We never exceeded our hospital capacity, and our economy is booming. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the nation. We are #1 in the nation for keeping jobs, keeping businesses open, and keeping money in the pockets of our people. The people of South Dakota kept their hours and their wages at a higher rate than workers anywhere else in the nation, and our schools are open. America needs conservatives at the state and at the local level, but we also need conservatives at the highest level of government too. In America, we have government of, by, and for the people. Our founding fathers established our national constitution, and the people of individual states crafted their own constitutions that place specific limits on the role of government. Those limits are essential to preventing government officials from trampling on people's rights. The people themselves are primarily responsible for their own health and their well-being. They are the ones who, entrusted with expansive freedoms, the free will to exercise their rights to work, worship, and to earn a living. No governor should ever dictate to their people which activities are officially approved or are not approved. And no governor should ever arrest, ticket, or fine people for exercising their freedoms. Governors and members of Congress and the president have a duty to respect the rights of the people who elected them. But it seems these days that conservatives are the only ones who know what that means. Personal responsibility is considered a God-given gift in South Dakota. Personal responsibility is not a term that conservatives have abandoned. When I was preparing to come speak with you, I came across some fascinating remarks that were made back in 1962. Listen to this. The Declaration, above all else, was a document not of rhetoric, but of bold decision. The Declaration unleashed not merely a revolution against the British, but a revolution in human affairs. This doctrine of national independence shook the globe, and it remains the most powerful force anywhere in the world today. That's fantastic, right? Those are the words of Democrat President John F. Kennedy. Is there any wonder why Ronald Reagan often said, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party, it left me"? There was a time when both political parties clung to certain fundamental principles. But today we seem not to even share the most basic ideals. America needs people who will stand up for these fundamental principles. America needs conservatives. It's easy to look back on 2020 and remember all of the issues that we had with COVID. But COVID is only one piece of a very problematic puzzle. It certainly showed us how deep the divide really is and how thin the barrier is between freedom and tyranny. But there was a worse movement that was happening in 2020, and it's an ongoing problem. Across America these last several months, we watched an organized, coordinated campaign to remove and eliminate all references to our nation's founding and many other parts of our history. Rather than looking to the past to help improve our future, some are trying to wipe away the lessons of history, lessons that we should be teaching to our children and to our grandchildren. Now, this approach focuses exclusively on our forefathers' flaws, and it fails to capitalize on the opportunity to learn from their virtues. And they had many of those. By discrediting the individuals who formed America's founding principles, they create doubt. And then they can remake America into a very different political image. It is our job to help explain why this is wrong. Remember, America wasn't founded for the personal gain or personal power of men like Washington, Adams, and Jefferson. The signers of the Declaration of Independence put their lives and their sacred honor on the line, and they affirmed people's God-given freedoms. Still today, the Declaration of Independence is one of the most important statements of purpose ever written, and not just because it serves as the justification for our independence to the entire world, but also because it has led to our prosperity, and it's inspired many other nations and peoples to seek freedom. We, the people,
All right, welcome back to HSP, episode number 117, the F-117 of HSP episodes, coming in stealth and hot.
That's right, man. Yep. That's right.
That was such a bad
I didn't
metaphor.
even think about that for the intro. Dang, you're so right, man. That was an easy one I missed. Oh well.
That's all
So,
good, man.
yeah.
I took a few notes, dude. I want to get your feedback. I've got 3 thoughts on this. I did a little bit of grab bagging in written form.
Okay.
I don't like, and I know that they're speaking at CPAC, which is the Conservative Political Action Committee. So I know they have to say, you know, we conservatives, we this, we that. I fundamentally do not like the word conservative.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. 100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
I like the idea, but not the word. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the reason I don't like it is because, like, we should be radicals for something, not trying to conserve something.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like the reason the Bolsheviks won in 1917 was because those people that were fighting against the Bolsheviks were conservatives. They were trying to just conserve. Oh, hey, let's not go
That's
that
right.
path. Let's just stay the way we are. What they should have been doing is offering a positive. This is the direction we should be going. The Bolsheviks are going, oh no, let's do Brave New World. We're offering a positive. You know, each side has to have a positive. And the reason that the left was having such a hard time the last 4 years is because they were just against Trump. They didn't offer anything. They had nothing. And that created a vacuum for AOC and the squad to come in because they were the only ones offering. And again, I've said this a million times, and I have to say it every single time to make sure we're clear on this. I am not saying that what the squad is proposing is positive. I am saying they are offering a positive. They're offering something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
They're not offering the absence of something. They're offering the presence of something. So in that sense, they are offering a positive. This is our vision. This is the direction that we want to go. And the mainstream left created a vacuum for them to fill when they stood merely against Trump. They were just, we're not on board with Trump. And that's the only thing for which they stood. And that's the reason the Bolsheviks were able to succeed back in early in early 1900s Russia was because the people fighting against them didn't offer anything. They were like, let's conserve. No.
It's true.
We don't know what path. We're not going to offer a path. We just don't want to go down this one. And that's how that happened. And I think embedded in the word conservative is just conserve. No. We're not going to offer anything.
Hesitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think that we should champion the word progressive. We need to progress. It's not enough to conserve. Why are we trying to conserve this? I mean, we just spent the entire first segment talking about debt and how fucked we all are. And why would we want to conserve that? What are we conserving? Are we conservative? Are we conserving debt spending? Are we conserving ever increasing regulation? What are we conserving? You say, well, freedom and liberty and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, great. But let's not pretend that that's where we are. We're not there right now. Let's progress toward freedom and liberty.
Exactly.
Let's progress toward individual rights. Let's progress toward fiscal responsibility. It's not enough to balance a budget. We need to slash and burn. We need slash and burn policies and in terms of government spending and departments, and all of these people need to get laid off. I'm sorry if you work for the government or if you have a family member that works for the government. I'm sure they're great people at heart, but like seriously, they need to find a job that does not exist on the backs of others. Many government officials, not everybody, but they do. And I'm sorry to say that, but that is what it is. Ooh, we just lost a listener over that one, Russ.
Oh, dang.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stifle my speech. Even Bob Ross agrees with me on that. And if YouTube ever wants to, then I've got Bob Ross over here just one click away that will protect me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it seems to be working. It does.
Yeah,
So,
we haven't gotten busted, dear listener. Bob Ross has seemed to have protected us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyways, what are we conserving? We should be progressing towards something. Let's be radicals for capitalism, radicals for individual rights. That's the direction, and champion it. And this is a good flicker of hope, glimmer of hope that I saw in her speech, which was, really championing, like, we don't have a right to be telling businesses what to do and so on and so forth. That's my first thought. Do you want to respond to that, or do you want me to give out all three and then you can respond to all three?
No, yeah, let's do all three. Let's do all three. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one on essential businesses. I don't know who all these people are for whom income is non-essential, but whatever they did to make all their money, that they can just their income is just now non-essential. That would be wonderful to know that path to success. But like, we need to, I would love to see somebody on the right come out and say, why are we talking about non-essential businesses? Why aren't we talking about non-essential personal income?
Right.
What about all these people? And then they'll say, well, the stimulus check is $1,400, really?
Yeah.
And then I would call them out. But are you serious though? Because we're bombing Syria, we're sending money over here, we're sending money over there. How about we talk about essential spending?
Yeah.
Is it essential that we, what was it? What was it in Pakistan? It was like gender studies or some shit like this.
It was a bunch of money too, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about what's essential in terms of government spending. These people need their income. Why don't we talk about that? Why are we talking about essential businesses? Why aren't we talking about essential personal income?
Well, and also this is an essential job, or the job would not exist in the private sector. Yeah.
Dear listener,
the private sector. Yeah.
Ask yourself this. Have you ever woken up in the morning and go, I don't like my job, but even though it's non-essential, I'm still going to go. It's not essential that I go to work today. But I'm going to go anyway, even though I don't like it. It's just not, but even though it's not essential that I go. No, fuck no. You wake up in the morning and go, I don't want to go to work today, but I have to because my income is essential. It doesn't matter what industry you work or for what business or what company.
And today I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I've got to get this done, right? People are depending on this work, right? So
it's essential you get it done.
Yes. Yes. It's essential. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, ideally you get a job that you like doing. It took me a long ass time. I hated pretty much every job I ever had until I was like 32, I think. A lot of jobs I deluded myself into enjoying. Ironically, like I really liked the shitty jobs. Like I worked at Texas Roadhouse flipping burgers and steaks, and even when I came to Germany, I needed a job to satisfy my work visa, and I
Well,
flipped
and
burgers here, and I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
But,
you learned an essential skill that got you, well, German not citizenship, but you got your green card, essentially, the
my
equivalent of a green card.
residence visa.
Residency. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
residence visa. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like doing it, but I know I'm not going to get rich doing it, and it's not intellectually challenging. And so I knew and that's one of those, in the office space when they're like, what would you do if you had $1 million? What I would do is move to the Caribbean, open up like a little beachside bar and grill, and like catch fish in the morning and lobster and all other sorts of, Caribbean sea life. And then I would bring it to shore and then fire up the barbecue pit and just have a bartender tend bar, because I don't know how to tend bar. And then I would just barbecue and serve amazing food all day on the beach. That's what I would do if I had $1 million. But I'm never going to become rich doing that, so I need to get rich first. And so I was like, okay, I enjoy cooking, but I'm not going to make a career out of this because I want to get wealthy.
All right. Let's, yeah, gotcha entirely. Let's stay on the rails about Kristi Noem, though. There was point 3 you had, and I have point 4 as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, really quick. But yeah, I mean, let's stop talking about essential businesses and recognize that everyone's income is essential. That's the thesis. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Okay. Mm-hmm. To sum it up. Mm-hmm. Okay. The third and last point. What I realized listening to this, that one of the reasons why I disagree with the idea that freedoms are God-given. I don't think freedoms are a given. They aren't given to you. You don't receive them from some entity. It's not the government that gives them to you. It's not God that gives them to you. It's not your fellow man that gives them to you. Freedom is not a given. It is a requirement of life. Yeah. If you are not free, you are not living life as a human being. Now, yes, there's a spectrum, but if you lock a human, like our nature is a species, our nature as a creature is to think, to act, to live. Okay. You have to understand the reality around you. And I don't mean this in some, vague philosophical concept. I mean, literally, you have to look around you, hear what you're hearing, see what you're seeing, and take in all of that sensory perceptive data. You have to sort that out through a process of integration or differentiation and integration. You have to make sense of it all. And then you have to decide some course of action to act on it to create value for yourself. That is just, there's no arguing that. That's just what we are. That's what we do, each individual as a species. And you have to, the nature of man is to be free to do that. It is if you're not free to do that, you are not living as a human being. You're living as a caged animal. Yeah. And that is unique to human beings. It's specific to us as a species. And if you're not free to do that, then you're not living as a human being. So freedoms are not given. They are a requirement. Reality, it is a requirement of reality. And this is the sort of language that I would like to, you don't need to blow up her spot and be like, oh, no, they're not given by God. And then go into some like Christopher Hitchens, style of like slapping her down for referencing God. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, let's get even more animated about this.
I agree.
Calling these people out. Like it's not a given. It's not a given. It's a requirement of human life. And if you're not free to live, then you are not living life as a human being.
That is exactly correct. I would add point number 4. I agree entirely with everything you said and everything Kristi Noem said about those first 3 points. And I would also add this. There was one that I observed about Kristi Noem. Point number 4 would be this. She said, I thought principles would prevail during the pandemic. They didn't. She is right.
Totally. This is why I like her. Yeah.
Yeah. Principles win the day. And she ran her state principled, dear listener. She did. She tried her best to guarantee everything about which Luke just spoke. Everything. She tried her best and succeeded. She didn't just try. She succeeded. Yeah. Why is this? Because principles win the day. Principles win the day. And so for that reason, Luke, I'm with you, man. I mean, first of all, man, her shoulders are something else, man.
I was going to say, I thought your fourth point was going to be about her medial delts.
Man, She has got some pinions. I tell you what, I bet she could take flight from that stage at CPAC just by wagging her arms, man. Yeah. Yeah, and she likes to show them too. You can tell. If I had shoulders like that, I'd like to show them too, straight up, So, but for everything that you just said, and for how principled she remains, I think she looks really good for a presidential run in 2024. Really good compared to what, Nikki Haley, Mitt Romney. You know what I mean? Compared to DeSantis looks good, dear listener. DeSantis looks good. Ted Cruz. Man, Ted Cruz is done. We called it last week. Ted Cruz is done. And
you think so?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that?
He assumed his elitism. He assumed it, took it for granted, and lost the PR war. Lost it, right? And this is never going to go away. Never going to go away for exactly the reasons we discussed in number 116. Dear listener, go back and listen to it when we were talking about Ted Cruz. Yeah, he just he didn't lose. He folded, man. He folded.
I think there's more people in the Republican Party who are more serious than Cruz at this point.
Yeah, I do too. Rand Paul was sure serious this week, boy.
Dude, yeah, this is what I want to see. Here we go. I'm clapping, doing the tweet, the clap tweet. This is what I want to see. Is Republicans actually getting serious, man? Like Ted Cruz is just, my state's about to lose power. I'm going to jump on a commercial flight when nobody can really fly anyways and go to Cancun and be a good father and then play it off like, dude, I'm so disappointed in Ted Cruz. And I want to see some rising stars. Josh Hawley, his CPAC speech was great.
I
Matt
watched
Gaetz
that one,
has done a lot of good work. Somebody actually commented. I need to respond to their comment, by the way, on the last show. That they referenced Matt Gaetz. I like Matt Gaetz. I called him out during the impeachment hearings for conflating fact witnesses and expert witnesses totally inappropriately. But by and large, I like Matt Gaetz. I want to see these people be the rising stars. I would like to see a Rand Paul. I would like to see what is her first name?
Christie.
Yeah. I'd like to see them run for president over Cruz. Cruz just at this point, he seems unserious. It seems like to him, he's got the principles, he's got the knowledge, but he does not seem to be taking anything that seriously. He wants to, it's like he got onto the meme train and now he's like a boomer who thinks he's in the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not the internet, Cruz. Yeah. This is the real world.
Yeah.
In which we operate.
Well, and it's the real deal that he participates in, and he should have known this, right? He should have known that all eyes would be upon him, as we said last week in number 116. So, I think Ted Cruz is over. He will not win re-election. Luke called it last week before I did, dear listener, and I was already of like mind before he ever even said it. Texas flips unanimously blue now. Unanimously blue. Governor, 2 senators, 6 years time. Blue state. Promise you. There's nothing stopping that. Yeah.
It's definitely at risk. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Did I categorically call that last show? I don't remember.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, shit. Well,
yeah. I unfortunately, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, their election, I think I need to go back and listen to it. Maybe I think I qualified it by saying that the only thing keeping Texas from turning blue is the election integrity.
Yes, you did. To be fair, yes, you did qualify it that way. Yeah. And also in the news this week, dear listener, we've got a major victory on our hands in the Senate in Georgia. They have passed a voter election integrity bill. Looks very promising. Looks like it might pass the House. Don't know if Governor Kemp is going to sign it or not, but looks very promising. At least the idea is out there and legislation is in place.
This is the thing that people need to understand. When people are like, oh, now that this happened with the elections, all is lost, our country's gone, it's done. No, Mark Elias and everybody, they went around and sued the shit out of every single state, broke down election integrity, and now the cat's out of the bag on election integrity, and now they can do something about it. So not all is lost on the election. I never bought into that narrative that all is lost.
I was
because
despairing for a little bit. I didn't buy into it, but I was despairing. I was like, oh,
yeah.
wurra, you
I
know?
mean,
So,
I had to ask myself, like, okay, if I really believe that, then why are we even bothering with the show? Why bother with anything? Why
mm,
not skirt your taxes, get the hell out of the country, renounce your citizenship, and buy a spot in Panama on the beach? You know,
yeah,
if that's
yeah,
really what you thought, then that's how you should be behaving right now.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So, yeah. Yeah, man, and I'm not nearly as pilled as I was for that show that we did right after the inauguration.
pill
What
of
was it?
color or pill for which color doesn't exist.
A pill for which color does not exist. I'm not nearly as pilled as I was because, man, what I'm seeing in government
I
right
see what you're
now,
saying. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
is
yeah.
just crazy. It's just it's dictatorial rule, dear listener. It's dictatorial rule, and a lot is happening. Excuse me, and a lot is going to happen, right? And we're going to be catching falling knives for the next 2 years at least, 4 years probably. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's gonna be
I mean,
something.
dude, we've been catching falling knives for 100 years.
I know.
That's
Yeah,
that's the problem with the right.
yeah,
I mean,
it
Cruz
is.
is over here going like, "Hey guys, look how many knives I caught." That's
Yeah,
that's Cruz's mentality, right? And look how many knives I got. How many knives did you catch? You know?
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's gonna be something. So, yeah. Well, man, Kristi Noem mentioned it in her speech. What do you think about Cuomo? He's gotten Me Too'd twice as of this morning. He is
Good.
going to be under investigation. Yeah, good, man. Absolutely. He's going to be under investigation for this debacle he created in the nursing home system over
Meaningless.
the Kung Flu. You think that's meaningless? Really?
Nothing's gonna happen with that. Totally meaningless.
The Me Too
Again,
thing might stick, though, man. You know,
yeah, but I mean, politicians are a lot more strong than they have a lot more power than Hollywood. Especially now that the deep state is again their lapdog. So all they got to do is open up a couple investigations, get the IRS on someone's back, and that'll disappear quick, fast, and in a hurry. But yeah, dude, the New York AG. I mean, come on. Like that's
Yeah.
meaningless. That's not good. That ain't going anywhere. You heard it here first.
Well, I don't know, man. 15,000 deaths are on his hands, man. 15,000,
It's
right?
been
You know,
it's been reported that it's actually more 30,000. That was 50%
I've heard that
underreported.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
stick with the 15 number, but yeah, I've heard 30. Yeah, I've heard
yeah.
that too.
So, but again,
So,
who cares? Who cares?
mm.
We can't
It
even
is
get the
it is a solidly blue state. Yeah, it is a
yeah. We
solidly
can't even
blue
get
state.
we can't
Yeah,
even get the Supreme Court to take on election integrity cases.
sure
So
can't. Sure can't. Got a bunch of show prep about that,
yeah,
including Justice Clarence Thomas's 5-sentence dissent to that decision. It was pretty funny, actually. You know, yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, you're right. We can't.
so
We
I mean, we can't even. I mean, these one of the single most important apparatuses of the government
Yeah, I say
app,
apparatuses, but yeah.
apparatum. I think
Uh-huh.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
no apparata. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, the I mean, that's one of the most important aspects of our government is the right to vote, and we can't even get the Supreme Court to take
Can't even
that
get
on.
that right. Yeah.
As if the New York AG is going to do something to Cuomo. I mean, come on. That's a joke. This is more
Yeah.
wishful thinking on behalf of the right.
Well, we'll see. I think, you know, Luke, I see some tides turning, right? There is a Rasmussen poll that dropped Thursday morning. It puts Biden at 39% approval. Dear listener, Rasmussen is the one to which you listen. That's the one which you consider. 39%, right? That's unheard of. Disfavorable approval within your first month. Unheard of, right? The gaffes keep coming in Texas. Dear listener, I've got that audio pulled up as well. It's actually really painful to listen to, right? People are seeing this stuff and they're realizing. Now, Luke, I don't know. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I think that it's a possibility that Cuomo is in some hot water about the nursing home thing. I
Don't
think he is already Me Too'd. He is already Me Too'd, right?
don't
And
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really
think
do.
there is a
I'm not.
distinct possibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, the left cannot avoid a good virtue signal, and they've got two women saying that he sexually harassed them, and the details are kind of salacious, dear listener. They kind of are, right? Now, is it something like a physical attack? Is it something crazy like that? No, it's not. No, but he clearly told two different women within his own administration that he wanted to have sex with them, and he kept pressing the point in really kind of creepy ways, right? I don't know that you can escape a Me Too. Now, Luke is right. The government, the apparatus of the government is against him, is against the victims in this case, right? There's a lot of damage Cuomo can do to them to shut them up. That's true. That's the way New York works as well. It's corrupt as it possibly could be, dear listener. But dang, man, Me Too speaks right now. Me Too speaks, right? She must be believed, right? Remember what's her name? Mazie Hirono. She must be believed. Talking about Stormy Daniels, I think it was. She must be believed. Those words are going to come back to haunt them, right? And President Biden has already said that he supports an investigation into Cuomo as of this morning. Damn. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Rose McGowan has turned on Biden. That's for sure.
Has she? I hadn't heard about that. What's her crazy ass up to?
She says she tweeted out, "Oh, son of a bitch, Twitter. I hate that when you scroll up and then it updates the
changes.
feed.
Yeah.
And then you can't, and then it's like a billion, things back and
Yeah.
you can't find it again." But she said in effect, something about lives in Syria, and then Biden, you are pure evil.
Dang. Wow. Whew. Huh. Rose McGowan, man. Rose McGowan. The original Me Too'er.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, the Latin plural of the noun apparatus is actually apparatus.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Oh,
Yeah, I took Latin in high school. I should have known better.
Yeah, I didn't. I took Spanish. So yeah.
I thought about taking Spanish, but I'm the kind of person where I always have to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm doing Latin.
Yeah.
Then I said, all right, this is way too ridiculously difficult. And then I switched to Spanish my third year.
Yeah, I can get that. Latin is difficult, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think German's a lot more difficult. I would Latin at this point. I'd be like, oh God, give me Latin, please. Can we can we replace German? Or at least, I mean, I've gone full on gender neutral, because if the German language just became gender neutral pronouns, it would just, everything would be easy.
Yeah.
It'd just be vocabulary at that point.
Right. Totally. So, yep.
So I'm full on gender neutral. I've joined the movement and everything.
Zier. Way to go, Zier. Way to go. So,
yeah. And Swedish, it's hen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah, it is.
We use hen in this household.
Yeah. Dear listeners, so many audio drops. I've got Rand Paul right here, but let me play Biden, Luke. Let me see if you heard this. This is when he landed in Texas on Friday. Have you heard this?
No.
All right, here we go.
I think he was getting on a plane. He told me he came in to see me last event. And Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green.
It's Sheila Jackson Lee. It's not Shirley Jackson Lee. It's Sheila Jackson Lee. I do continue.
Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell, and what am I doing here?
Oh my God.
What am I doing here? Oh my God. This is the man who got the most votes in presidential history, dear listener. This is the man who did that.
Dude, that really is sad. Is that taken
painful.
out of context?
No.
Is there more audio that comes after that?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, he tries to pick up and read his card. Right.
I'm gonna lose track here. And Mayor Turner, Judge Hidalgo, thank you all for welcoming us. And Jill and I wanted to visit Texas today for a couple of reasons.
Well, first, it took you a week to get here, you son of a bitch. So yeah, and that's the entirety of the clip I have right there. And then he goes on just kind of reading teleprompters and stuff and doing what he's told to do. dear listener, after I saw that clip, and there have been hundreds of these. All right, it's not new. Okay, dear listener, I am predicting that Biden does not make June of 2021. He's not going to lose his life. He's going to get 25th Amendmented. That's what's going to happen. The left are already orchestrating to 25th Amendment him, right? There are 8 House Democrats who don't want him having the nuclear codes.
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah. Because what do they know? What do they know? I would have to guess here, Luke, that they know that he's not capable of possessing the nuclear football. That they know something that we don't know yet.
You know,
right?
He's gonna like wander in there and like nuke somewhere, like he's gonna like nuke Tripoli or something,
right?
But then the media and everybody on the left is gonna come out and blame it on a YouTube video,
right?
Like look, we
Trump,
had to nuke.
It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault.
We had to nuke Tripoli because of the Dancing Mohammed YouTube video that a guy put out.
Right.
We had to suppress the rioters.
Yeah. Right. I mean, man, is that what the left is suggesting? It's what they seem to be suggesting, quite literally. You know, the man is not capable of having the nuclear codes. Well, dear listener, the president uniquely possesses the nuclear codes. And if the man is not capable of possessing the nuclear codes, the man is not capable of being president of the United States. And this is not the right that's talking about this. This is the left. And Luke, I had an article that listed the 8 people that want him to cede the nuclear football basically to the House, right? Basically so that when we get in a sudden strike situation, it comes up for debate in the House rather than that of the chief executive, which is exactly and uniquely and only an executive power. But it does seem to be a vote of no confidence from the left, not Jim Jordan, not Devin Nunes, not Matt Gaetz. The left are saying this. Very fascinating, man. Very fascinating. Will this go anywhere like anything else? No, it won't. But it is a vote of no confidence, dear listener. That is what that is. So,
hey, what time does Trump come on?
T-minus 15 minutes. Yeah.
At 40?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He'll be a couple minutes late. Yeah, it's T-minus 15 minutes. I've got my eye on the clock, man. I am really looking forward to this, dear listener. There have been a lot of things leaking about what he's going to say. Supposedly, you know, who knows what he's going to say. We'll hear what he has to say. He's going to deny that he is going to create his own political party. He is going to repudiate Kevin McCarthy, the House minority leader, right? Several other things that I've heard so far. It's going to be a fun ride, dear listener. It's going to be a really fun ride. So he's supposed to speak for about an hour. What do you think, Luke? You think this will be rally style? I think it will be rally style. I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's all he knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. I do. Yeah.
Well,
all right, man.
So what do you want to do? Like, how much more do you have? Do you want to call it a little bit so we have time to regroup before he comes on?
Yeah, I kind of do want to, but man, I want to get it into our hallowed halls before we get up out of here. The Equality Act passed the House this week. Do you know about that?
No, not really. Like I said, dude, I've been unplugged from politics for about a month now.
Don't blame me on that. Yeah. Here's the Equality Act, dear listener. Okay. Right in the context of when Rand Paul will
experience
Rachel Levine, a transgendered woman who pulled her mother out of the hospitals out of Pennsylvania because of Kung flu, right? Who is now going to be assistant secretary of DHS, a transgendered woman. And let me skip that. Okay, let's play 30 seconds of it here real quick.
Solution by late adolescents if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what she does is she punts the whole time. Okay. Zier punts the whole time. Never answers any of Rand Paul's questions. Right.
Of course.
Said the exact same answer twice. Dear listener, the War Room put out this week a speech that she gave in 2019 in which she not only advocates for minors having sex changes, she advocates for taking homeless children off the streets and giving them sex changes against their will. I swear to God it's true. I swear to God it is. Okay. So in the context of this, the Equality Act passes this week. Okay. Luke, basically what the Equality Act is, it's the end of Title IX. Okay. It is transgender.
But probably surely something much worse.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It's the end of women's sports, right, that have been protected by the original Equality Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that have been protected by that act for almost 50 years now, right? What it's saying is that transgenders have every single right to enforce their pronouns upon you, and they have a right to identify as the opposite sex anytime they want and go compete. And then they can unidentify as that sex later after they've competed in that sport if they want to. It guarantees transgendered men going into women's bathrooms, women going into men's bathrooms. It guarantees this. It enshrines it into law, right? And it passed. And will it pass the Senate? I don't know. Man, this is such a clown world. It just might. 3 Republicans voted for it. They are John Katko, representative
voted
New York.
For it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Tom Reed, Republican New York, and Brian Fitzpatrick, Republican Pennsylvania. New York, and Pennsylvania voted for the Equality Act, which, dear listener, is absurd on its face. It's the Inequality Act. It is the Inequality Act, right? And suddenly the left has fed us a talking point, right? Steve Bannon's been making hay of it. Luke and I can make hay of it, right? But it's pretty prima facie. There's not really much in depth about it. It's really just simple legislative absurdity. That's what it is, right? Well, there's a great chance that this is going to pass the Senate. There's a great chance. Yeah. That's the end of women's sports. That's the end if that happens. So,
yeah. I mean, again, like you have to remind yourself that this shit happens and it can always be repealed. But I mean, it's like they do this stuff and it just only further gives us ammunition. You know what I mean? So it's like, while this is infuriating, it's not like it's the end of women's sports for now. I think I think there's just an asterisk footnote that should be added into that, which is that it's the end of women's sports for now. So we'll see. And, we need a Republican Party who can grow a pair and, pun intended, and, and do something about it, which they didn't do shit about Title IX. All these sexual assault accusations that you see coming out of universities and all this bullshit. That's all Title IX, all of it. Every last bit of it is all Title IX. It actually
is. Yeah, it actually is. So
this is even worse. So anyways, yeah. So we will, I mean, it's the end of women's sports, asterisk footnote for now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll see what the right does in response.
Yeah, well, I mean, three of them in the House are going to vote for it. So let's see what they do. Let's see what happens. It all comes down to the Senate, as it usually does. Let's see what happens. I doubt Manchin is going to vote for this. Kamala Harris will, no doubt about it. If she's the tie-breaking vote, she will vote for it. Dear listener, all about a virtue signal for transgenders. That's what this bill is. It is a virtue signal for transgenders against women. Let's consider this hypothetical, dear listener. Do you think any women are going to step into men's sports and go compete with men? No, not going to happen. Why is this? Because they will lose. They will lose. There are simple biological differences that preclude them from competing against men in sports, right? That is why Title IX exists. That is why. It is the acknowledgement of this difference in genders. And now, oh my God, everybody can be gender fluid. Oh my God. But that's not what it's about. It's a virtue signal and nothing more. And meanwhile, boy, did we ever have a talking point for 2022, for 2024. You set your watch to it, dear listener. This is going to be coming up over and over and over again. You believe this. You believe this. So that was it. I mean, I've got plenty of other things. I've got a whole bunch of audio. Hunter Biden was real interesting this week. I got a bunch of other things. Operation Talon was repealed by Biden this week. Let's table it, man. Let's table it. Yeah.
All right, dude. Why don't we bounce out and watch this Trump speech? What do you say?
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. I cannot wait, dear listener. I cannot wait to hear our president again. So, all right, Luke, you want to run us through my socials real fast, please?
Yeah, sure. Before we bounce out of the show, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. You can find me on Gab at Cool Hand Lucifer. I think Cool Hand Lucifer, or is it?
It is. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Same with Parler. You can find me on Clubhouse actually at Cooler Hand Luke, because Cool Hand Luke was already taken. You can find everything we do on zero-gravity-media.com. You can find the audio at SoundCloud, Podbean, not Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Send us feedback at zero-gravity-media.com/contact. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Rumble.
Yep.
Rumble.
Rumble.
Gravity Media. Yeah.
You can find us on Rumble. And then also, of course, locals.com, zero-gravity.locals.com. If you want to support us financially, you can do so there. We've had to make a little bit of a shift where we've got to set up an American.
I've got to talk to you about that. I'm glad you said that, man. I got to talk to you about that. So
yeah, no worries. We've got some, banking issues there. So people are supporting us on locals. And if you want to support the show, and you can afford to do so, you are welcome to. If not, no worries. HSP will always be free. So if you want to support us financially, you can do it on locals.com. Again, that's zero-gravity-media.locals.com. And before we bounce out, Shayna says, clearly you haven't seen Kathy Ireland kick a football in Necessary Roughness.
You know what? That's a fine. I did see that. And God, I love me some Kathy Ireland. Good point, Shayna. Yeah.
And I just Googled her. Yeah, I haven't seen her in forever.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder what she's up to these days.
I do too. Yeah, I haven't even thought about her in 10 years, I would guess. So, well, maybe less than that, but yeah. So
I think she's doing, she's doing public speaking and stuff.
Yeah, I actually knew that. And is she a conservative? Am I mistaken about that? She makes lingerie. Yes, that is right. She does. That is absolutely right, Shayna. Yeah, she does. Yep. Well, she's the one to do it. And I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's right. She's the spokeswoman. There you go.
Yep.
All right, dude. Well, let's do it.
All right, let's ride. All right, dear listener, we have made it all the way down this 117-mile trek. Thank you so much for riding along with us. We are going to go listen to our president speak at CPAC right now, and I personally cannot wait. We would do it in real time, and we'd probably even live blog it, dear listener, but time grows short in Germany. You have to understand this time difference thing. It's quite a formidable obstacle for us to deal with, but not complaining. We love what we do. So, yeah.
For sure. If you want to, we should throw this invite out there. If you want to join us on, if you want to watch the speech, but you also want to shitpost with us, join the Discord server. And maybe anybody watching, we've got a small crew on Discord. If you want to join the Discord server, then jump into the general voice chat. You can watch the channel and we can all chat at the same time. I'll probably join for a little while before I go to bed. It's 9:30 here, but
extreme vetting, dear listeners.
Extreme vetting. Yeah, we have a beautiful wall. It's got a big, beautiful door, but we do have a wall built up. But no, seriously. Send an email. Let me see. How can they do this? Send an email, contact@zero-gravity-media.com. That goes straight to my personal email address. So I'll get the email. and say, hey, I want to join the Discord server. I will send a link. And then I'll be in there chatting for just a little bit. It's a voice chat. There's also a general text chat, and it's also perpetual. So you can always chat. And we've got a nice little, it's a safe space.
It's a safe space. Yes, it is.
For
yes,
freedom lovers. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And and you can chat with everybody while we watch the Trump speech. So that's it, Russ. That's all I got for this show, man. Great show.
All right. Yeah, great show, brother. And dear listener, once again, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Luke and I are going to be back at you before you know it, on time and under budget, next week for episode number 118. Can you believe it? 118 episodes from the Hellions of the Right come at you next week, dear listener. You set your watch to it. Meanwhile, you be very well. You take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Everybody up there in Washington, y'all should be having a meetup. Y'all should have an HSP meetup here pretty quick, because there are a hell of a lot of y'all up there. So meet up, drink a beer for us. And sometime Luke and I'll get out to your fine shores and we will all meet together. Meantime, have a great week, dear listener. And Luke, you take care of yourself, brother.
You too, man. Peace.
All right. Be in touch. Late.